Water. Earth. Fire. Air.
You know, I'm like, I was talking to some cats too, and of course I'm involved with the IP, and people reach out. I mean, people have reached out to me on my platforms from just random people all over the world that want to be involved in audition to, you know, close friends that are in Hollywood that want to audition. And it's like, you'll see how involved I may get in as the process continues, but you never know. You know, it's Hollywood's filmmaking. It's I know we're in a time where we're hopefully going to be able to cast this in a way that's going to be very inclusive to people of color and get it right. And that would be always my stance of trying to propel the story forward. But as far as, you know, specific actors, you never know until, you know, these kids, I don't know. You know, it's very strange. It's like, it's Netflix. We don't know. It's going to be older guys playing younger. It's going to be real Stranger Things where you can get really kids of that age doing this epic adventure. That plays into a lot of things, you know? So we'll see how it pans out. I don't know. I'm excited. I think I'm as excited as anybody else at how it's going to pan out. But we'll see. I got my fingers crossed. But Mike and Bryan are helming it, so I got all the faith in the world. Those guys, they created the world. They're so amazing as artists, and I respect them so much just as just guys and as men as well as artists. So I can't wait to see what happens.
And you would be down to not necessarily reprise your role, but you would be down to come back into the live action universe. Maybe you can play another person within the Avatar.
You know, I'm part of the Avatar family for life. So, you know, when the time's right, you know, you can catch me. You know, I might pop in somewhere, anywhere. Who knows? People that follow my career know I'm one of them actors that can pop up anywhere at any time. You know, after 30 years in the industry, it's like, yeah, Dante can show up anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix video. We have Dante Basco, Zuko himself, talking about the new Netflix series that they're currently working on right now, even though the virus is going on. So we'll break it all down. There's a bunch of cool Easter eggs and behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Of course, I'll be doing episode videos and bonus videos for the new Avatar: The Last Airbender series, but there's a whole bunch of cool updates and stuff that Dante Basco talks about during this. So big shout out to my dude Dorian Parks at Collider, who scored this awesome interview with Prince Zuko. Or should we call him Fire Lord Zuko? I guess it just depends on which part of the timeline you're talking about. So we'll cover what's going on with the new episodes that they're producing, when they're going to be casting and filming the series, what the new release date target's going to be because of all the virus delays, and what's going on with the original cast coming back and being involved in the new show, like Dante Basco is talking about during his clip here. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'll just number this as we go along to stay organized. You may have also seen that new Avatar: The Last Airbender trailer that was circulating a little while ago. That was an actual new trailer for new Avatar animation, but it isn't quite what you think it is. This is the clip.
This world is in trouble.
We can't let this happen. They need our help.
That's basically just meant to be a promo for a new mobile game that's doing some tie-in content with Avatar: The Last Airbender and Nickelodeon. So it's not like a new episode of the TV series or anything like that. It's just people saw it and started freaking out like, wait a minute, this is brand new. And as for the new series, Mike and Bryan also clarified what the story will cover from the Avatar universe timeline and what they're not going to be doing on the series, because there's been a ton of reports about comic book stuff that takes place after Book 3 in the supposed quote-unquote Avatar Season 4 plan that some of the writers had before the big live-action Last Airbender movie with M. Night happened. Dante Basco talks about being involved with the series, the creative behind the scenes. He says he's actually heavily involved in the creative side, which I'm actually surprised by. Mike and Bryan did reveal that they were trying to get him to participate with the new series, but they didn't really specify what that meant, whether they would just try to get him to cameo in the series or if he was going to play a major character. But now it sounds like he's actually involved on a creative level behind the scenes in the development of the actual episodes. He also does say that he probably will pop up as a character on the series, although he doesn't say which character. Personally, I'm hoping for someone like Uncle Iroh if he's going to have a major role in the series, or if he's only going to be doing cameos, then it's got to be Cabbage Man or Foaming Mouth Guy. If you want to see him on the series more though, Cabbage Man does have way more scenes just in terms of cameos. I don't really think that he'd be a good fit for Fire Lord Ozai just because he's so soft-spoken. Like, his voice doesn't feel like an Ozai kind of voice. Mark Hamill was actually the voice of Ozai in the original series, if you didn't know that.
Well, this defiant breath will be your last.
Fire Lord Ozai. When I read it, I thought, this thing's not going to last because it's too smart. It's too intellectual. It doesn't have the flashbang wallop that seemed to be what was popular at that time.
When Dante Basco talks about being way more involved behind the scenes with the creative on the show, I don't think that he's going to be a full-blown executive producer or anything like that. I don't know if he's going to get a producer credit, but he might wind up directing some of the episodes because he is a filmmaker himself. He does have several of his own side projects that he's produced over the years, and he does even make his own music on the side. The last couple of months, he's also been blowing up big time because they just re-released the original series on Netflix. So a lot of people are rediscovering the series. A lot of people are going back to it. He even reads a lot of his Avatar poems that he writes on his live streams. This is actually a poem that he made about Zutara a while ago.
Sometimes the memory of what could have been is so much stronger than what actually happened because the memory of perfection lasts longer. And even though we didn't end up together, it'll never change the fact that you changed my life forever.
But then he talks about the casting process. I know there are a ton of you that have messaged me with questions about how the casting process is going to work because of Bryan Konietzko's post from a couple years ago, where they said that they would have some form of open casting. All that open casting call stuff, that won't start till right before they get ready to shoot the series, and they need the people that they would be casting. It is funny to hear Dante Basco talk about other big Hollywood actors hitting him up, trying to get in the new series, just because so many people are fans of Avatar and grew up with the series. They're going to him because he's like Avatar man #1. He also kind of addresses the Stranger Things aspect of the show, which I think is a good comparison to make. The fact that the show was about a group of relatively young kids, with Aang starting out as a 112-year-old man, chronologically, but mentally and biologically, he's still 12 years old. Super young, and Katara, Sokka, and Zuko aren't that much older. Zuko is the oldest Team Aang member biologically, and he's only about 17 years old when the series picks up. So the big choice that Mike and Bryan have to make for the show is how old to cast the actors. Personally, I don't care which way they go with that as long as whoever they get is good. That's all that really matters. The only real issue with doing it the Stranger Things way is that you have to produce episodes a little quicker than the traditional Netflix series would. So in terms of popularity, Avatar: The Last Airbender could be Netflix's new Game of Thrones. I'm hoping that makes them pick it up for multiple seasons at the start, so it's not really a big issue getting Season 2 out a year after Season 1. This is where the actual amount of story that they're covering on the new series is important. So a lot of you have read the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics like The Promise, The Search, Smoke and Shadow, and you know that there's a ton of story that explains what happens to all the characters right after the end of Book 3. But because fans have been messaging Mike and Bryan constantly about doing an adult version of Team Aang in some kind of new series, they actually answered saying that what they're going to be doing is just a straight-up adaptation of the original 3-book series. So that just means they're not going to be doing any of that comic book story, which is kind of a bummer, but they do still have some choices to make about how to plot the episodes out. Will it only be 3 seasons if they're only going to be adapting the 3 books? Or will it be 6 seasons and they'll just split the story from each book into 2 halves? Which in my opinion is probably the better option. They did imply a while ago that they might do more animation in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender someday, but they didn't say when that might happen or which Avatar it would follow. If we get any news about that, of course I'll do a video. But right now the timeline for when the casting is going to start and filming dates is probably somewhere between the end of this year and early next year, and then they would start filming by spring of next year with a possible release date between the end of 2021 or spring 2022. Netflix had originally planned on releasing the series in 2020, but that was way back in 2018 when they first announced it was in development. So if you really want some new Avatar story right now while you're waiting for new episodes, they're currently writing an Avatar Kyoshi book in multiple parts. The first part has already been released, so you get a bunch of her backstory. Zach Tyler, the voice of Aang on the original series, also just did his first big Avatar interview in a long time. This is what he looks like now. He's in his 20s. That's how much time has gone by. Don't you feel old now? He hasn't been doing any big acting work or anything like that since Avatar. He's mostly just been doing normal human stuff like going to college. So even if all the Avatar actors don't show up on the new series, they probably will still be doing a lot of side stuff at conventions and Avatar events in real life. But everyone, just post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know who do you want Dante Basco to play on the new live-action series. Everyone click here for my other new video of Dante Basco talking about Avatar The Last Airbender, and click here to learn all about the new Batman TV show coming to HBO. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.